somewhere in a factory right now, a machine the size of a bus is doing something that sounds more like science fiction than manufacturing. It's firing lasers at tiny droplets of molten tin, turning them into a glowing plasma hotter than most stars, just to carve patterns so small they're measured in atoms, not millimeters. And here's the part that should make you pause. Even that might not be enough anymore. Because we are quietly reaching the edge of what light can physically do. And if that sounds dramatic, it's because it is. The entire future of computing, from your phone to artificial intelligence to data centers that power the internet, depends on solving a problem that physics is now starting to push back on. This is where things get interesting, because one new technology might not just improve chipmaking, it could completely disrupt giants like ASML and reshape the future of Intel. For decades, chipmaking followed a simple rule: make transistors smaller, and everything gets better. Faster speed, lower power, more performance. That rhythm powered Moore's law for more than half a century. Every couple of years, the industry shrank transistors and kept the entire digital world moving forward. But physics doesn't care about roadmaps. Modern chips are made using a process called lithography. In simple terms, you shine light through a patterned mask onto a silicon wafer coated in light-sensitive material. That light draws the circuit pattern. Wherever the light hits, chemistry changes the surface. Wash it away, and you're left with microscopic wiring patterns that become the brain of every computer. The problem is that light is not infinitely precise. It has a wavelength. And that wavelength sets a hard physical limit on how small a pattern you can print. Trying to draw a 3-nanometer line with ordinary light is like trying to paint a perfect portrait using a fire hose. The smaller you go, the more the physics breaks down. So the industry pushed into extreme territory. That's where extreme ultraviolet lithography, or UV, comes in. And the machine that makes UV possible is one of the most complex machines humanity has ever built, developed and controlled almost entirely by ASML. There is no second supplier, no backup. One company, one technology stack, one global dependency. Inside these machines, droplets of liquid tin are fired into a vacuum chamber. Each droplet is hit by 2 lasers in rapid succession. The result is instant vaporization into plasma at temperatures exceeding 200,000 Kelvin. That's roughly 40 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This plasma emits extreme ultraviolet light at a wavelength of just 13.5 nanometers. But here's the twist. This light is so energetic that it cannot pass through glass. It doesn't bend through normal lenses, it gets absorbed instantly. So instead of lenses, the machine uses a series of ultra-polished mirrors, each one engineered at atomic precision, bouncing the light step by step until it finally reaches the silicon wafer. Every reflection costs energy. Every bounce reduces intensity. By the time it reaches the wafer, only a fraction of the original light remains. And yet, that fraction is still enough to manufacture the most advanced chips in the world. For a while, UV felt like the final answer, but now the industry is hitting another wall. At advanced nodes like 3 nanometers and below, even UV starts to break in a subtle but deadly way. Not because of wavelength alone, but because of randomness at the quantum level. This is called stochastic noise. Light is not smooth. It arrives in particles called photons. When you're printing features only a few nanometers wide, the difference between receiving 12 photons or 9 photons in one spot is not trivial. It is a defect, a broken connection, a failed chip. You can fix this by increasing light exposure, but that slows everything down dramatically, and these machines already cost around $150,000 per day to operate. Slower means more expensive. More expensive means lower margins. And in chip manufacturing, that can decide entire industries. So ASML built the next leap forward, high-NA UV. The newest system, the TwinScan X-Styles 5200B, costs roughly $380 million per machine. It uses a larger optical aperture, allowing it to print features up to 1.7 times smaller than previous systems. In theory, that translates to nearly 3 times higher transistor density in a single exposure. This is not incremental improvement. This is a major jump in capability. In December 2025, Intel announced it had deployed the first high-NA UV system. The machine passed acceptance tests and began development work on Intel's 14A process node. Meanwhile, Samsung received its first high-NA scanner in late 2025 and a second in early 2026, aiming at future 2nm class foundry production. SK Hynix also installed a high-NA system in September 2025 at its DRAM facility. But even this next generation is not a final solution. Because at scales approaching 14 angstroms, we are no longer just shrinking nanometers, we are entering a regime where economics, physics, and randomness all collide. And that's where a completely different idea enters the conversation. What if the answer isn't better light? What if the answer is to stop forcing patterns entirely and let matter organize itself? That's the idea behind directed self-assembly, or SA. Certain molecules, called block copolymers, are made of 2 chemically incompatible parts bonded together. They want to separate, but they cannot. So when you heat them, they naturally form repeating structures lines, dots, and cylinders at scales that match chip manufacturing needs. In other words, instead of drawing every detail, you set the conditions and let chemistry do the work. On their own, these patterns are random. Beautiful, but useless for circuits. Position matters too much. A transistor in the wrong place is not a slight error, it's a dead chip. So engineers guide the process using UV lithography as a rough template. The light doesn't draw the final pattern, it draws a guide. Then the polymers are applied. When heated, they self-organize, locking into the template like a puzzle solving itself. This is the shift, from precision printing to guided emergence, and it has real-world traction. Sony already uses DSA in manufacturing image sensors today. It works in real production environments, under real constraints. But image sensors are forgiving. Logic chips are not. That's where the stakes change completely. Logic chips require near zero defects. Every nanometer matters. Every error propagates into failure. This is why Intel's upcoming 14A process node is so important. It is designed to combine high NA UV with DSA. In Intel's own framing, this is an all-in moment in its fight against competitors like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and Samsung. Intel is effectively betting that it can push into new manufacturing territory earlier than anyone else, while others take a more cautious approach. TSMC and Samsung have both ordered high NA tools, but mainly for research and development rather than full high-volume manufacturing. Their hesitation is not about capability, it's about scale. When you are producing millions of wafers per month, unpredictability is not a risk. It is a potential catastrophe. A small failure rate can turn into billions in losses. So they stick with refined UV processes they already understand and can control. That creates a fascinating split in strategy. One path is total control. Every photon measured, every variable engineered, every step optimized. The other is guided chemistry. Set the boundaries and let nature assemble the structure itself. And neither approach is guaranteed to win. Because what we are really watching is not just a race between companies. It is a deeper question about how manufacturing evolves when it reaches atomic scale limits. Intel is betting that combining high NA UV with DSA can push performance and density further than traditional methods. If it works, it could reshape the competitive landscape of the entire semiconductor industry. If it fails, it raises a much harder question, whether Intel can remain a leading-edge chip manufacturer at all. Meanwhile, ASML remains at the center of everything, because every advanced node still depends on its machines. But even ASML's tools are now being pushed to their physical and economic limits. The history of chipmaking has always been a story of breaking barriers that were supposed to be final. Light hit its limit, so engineers built UV. UV is now hitting its limits, so researchers are turning to chemistry itself. We started by drawing circuits, now we are teaching matter to build them. And the strange part is, nobody can say with certainty what comes next. But in technology, the moments where physics starts pushing back are usually the moments that define entire eras. So whether this becomes Intel's breakthrough or the industry's turning point, one thing is clear. We are no longer just making chips smaller. We are rewriting how reality builds structure at the smallest possible scale. And that's exactly where the next revolution begins. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies shaping the future before they hit the mainstream.